We know what you're here for. Talk and trade. Juan Soto, by the way, and Trent Grisham, of course, going to the New York Yankees. Padres traded 2/3 of their starting outfield yesterday.
Two lefties.
I can't recall many times in baseball where a team traded 2/3 of their starting outfield in the same deal.
Yeah, nuts.
Across the country.
Like
and
not getting one back.
Woods made an excellent point. Whatever the Padres do from this point forward, they need to acquire left-handed anything. Pitching, hitting, anything. They have become
we are loaded with righties.
A very right-handed team at this point on both sides of the ball. So you've got to imagine that whatever A.J. Preller is targeting at this point in free agency or still on the trade market, they got to bring some left-handed bats and pitchers in to bring some balance in to what is a very lopsided now right-handed roster, which at this moment is estimated to be at about the $145 million level in payroll.
Yep, that's quite a jump down, a fall down.
Yeah,
I guess.
when $200 million seemed like we can't. There's nothing the Padres can do. They're at 190. How are they going to get anything? Okay, all of a sudden now you've got somewhere in the neighborhood of $50 million for just this season to play with, to sign more pitching, to sign a center fielder or a corner outfielder and move Tatis to center, another corner outfielder, maybe a first baseman, more relief pitching. There's still a lot to be done, and you're still going to have to make those dollars stretch a little bit if you really want to address every need that the Padres have during this offseason. But at least there's some reasonable way to do it. And when AJ admitted yesterday, part of this game is I got a budget, and we got to do the most with it that we can. He finally acknowledged that it is not an unending siphon of payroll that he can deal with at this point, and he's going to have to deal in the world of the real, like most other GMs usually have to deal with, and he has somehow kind of been immune to the last couple of seasons.
Do you want to play it? Do we have it? Do we have that clip? Of him talking
I think
about
we
that?
do. We do have that clip. Let's check traffic, and then if you want to call us, 833-288-0973, we can play that clip, and then we'll give you our breakdown of the players the Padres are getting back in this trade coming up here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by California Coast Credit Union. Well, it continues to be a quiet one on our roads, guys. No trouble spots to contend with. Starting to see the usual slowing in the usual spots. Yeah, we're looking at you, westbound 52 heading out of Santee, but at least no incidents or accidents getting in your way. With MasterCard, local CalCoast Credit Union members can earn 5% cash back on purchases made with CalCoast MasterCard credit and debit cards every time they shop at participating businesses. Learn more at calcoastcu.org/shop-local. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It definitely, again, I think the exercise always is you have a budget and you're trying to make the team work within the budget. It definitely gives us two things. I think some flexibility, and then also just some clarity on what the rest of the offseason looks like. So I think part of the discussion in the last few days was, do you wait, do you hold out and see what's going on in the market? And I think we did I think our group did a good job of flushing out different options, et cetera. But it also gives us some clarity on there's a lot of good players out there, both trade and free agency, that we want to be at least be able to participate and see if we can add to our team, and this deal enables us to kind of move on with the offseason.
Yeah. I'll tell you too, Padres fans, I saw a lot of, listen, last night it was raw. It always is raw when something like that happens. I was the rawest MFer out there. I was feeling very raw and exposed. I think the thing that you can be really pissed come March if they take this money and shove it in their pockets and go out and spend. Well, we spent $7 million to bring in 6 players. That's when you can say the things of you lied to us. You cleared up this money. Time for you to spend it, and I think they're going to. In fact, I'd bet a lot of money that this money is going to go right back into the team. Now, again, they pocket that money. I think you have every right to be massively upset. And they go out and get a bunch of replacement level players to play left, to play center, to play first, to round out the rotation. I
think you have the right to be upset right now.
Sure you do. Sure, absolutely.
With the caveat of let's see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not telling anybody they can't be upset. I'm upset. I'm upset.
Yesterday sucked.
Yesterday sucked. That said, we've seen it so many times in baseball where the owner just, he's gone, my money. and they roll out a team on opening day, and you go, they've done it here, Ben, and you go, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. I don't think that's going to happen because they're still rumored on guys that are going to be fairly expensive, and they still have trade capital right now. They have the ability
more
to
than
go,
they did
They have
yesterday.
more than they did yesterday. So I'm not trying to brightside this thing for you. I'm really not. I'm still bummed. I'll tell you straight up about the return I saw yesterday. Did not blow my hair back. It didn't. I'm ready to go through it and talk about it.
It's for anyone who says the Padres didn't get as much back as they traded for Juan Soto, you are absolutely right. But that is also to be expected. When you buy a car with 15,000 miles on it, and then you sell it 2 years later with 40,000 miles on it, you're not expecting to get as much for it as when you bought it. The assets don't appreciate, especially when Juan Soto only has 1 year of control left. So you expected some lesser return. But I also think you can't evaluate this trade in its entirety. And I'm not saying for 5 years. I'm saying you can't evaluate it until you see what the Padres spend that money on. Yeah. The Padres weren't going to be able to do anything if they kept Juan Soto. They were going to have to pretty much scrape the bottom of the barrel. So anything that happens at this point in the offseason, well, in my mind, kind of gets added onto this Juan Soto trade as part of the return for Juan Soto.
Yeah, I agree. And that's a one way to look at it. I mean, you could have still made moves with the prospect capital that you do have. I don't know how much they wanted to do that after, just now.
You really couldn't have added much money, though. You could trade for star players, but star players generally have a salary that you have to pay.
You got to pay them.
If, as we just heard, AJ, the name of the game. As I've always said, no, you haven't always said that. You never say the word budget at all.
I've never heard him say it.
I've never heard you say that, but he said the name of the game is doing as much as you can with the budget you are given. That is not what you've been saying the last couple of years, but it is absolutely
definitely,
true.
Again, I think the exercise always is you have a budget and you're trying to make.
Is that the exercise always?
It's never really been the exercise.
So
the volume, like I said this last night, you get a 5-for-1, you're like, hell yeah, we needed volume, we got volume, so check that box. You got 5 players for one.
Well, and it's
taking
more,
names and numbers out of it. Two, sorry.
It's more than that. It's how much control you have over those players. The Padres could have up to 22 seasons of control on the 5 players they acquired. They had 3 seasons of control on Soto and Grisham that they gave up. So they're netting 19 more seasons of baseball players. Now, I don't know that any of those seasons will be anywhere near as good as the one season the Yankees are getting out of Juan Soto in this trade. It's going to be a really good season.
I talked to somebody in baseball yesterday. They said Juan Soto is going to hit 50 home runs next year. I said, wow.
There's a really good chance of it. He's not a dead pull hitter, so, the Yankee Stadium, the short porch and right, may not benefit him as much as some right-handed players, but
he'll be fine.
Let's not.
He's going to be good.
Let's not,
Hitting at Yankee Stadium is easier than hitting at Petco Park.
Those numbers are going to be very hard to stomach this year.
Aaron Judge,
what he's doing.
Aaron Judge hitting, I'm assuming, behind him, is probably not going to hurt him. I would guess.
Verdugo, Judge, and Soto in your outfield.
This is interesting. And Grisham to spell one of those guys.
So what did the Padres
DH.
get? It seems clear that the 2 players that they really wanted to center the deal around were Michael King, right-handed pitcher, 28 years old, who has 2 years of control left, so he's a second-time ARB-eligible player going into this season. Went 4-8 with a 2.75 ERA last year in a bit of a Nick Martinez-type role for the Yankees. Pitched in the bullpen, got some saves, 6 saves, 127 strikeouts, 32 walks. Had a 1.15 whip, which is really solid. At the end of the season, he moved consistently into the starting rotation and excelled in the last couple of months of the season as a starter. Presumably, he slots in as the Padres' number 3 starter next season.
I think
right
absolutely.
now, behind Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove.
Yeah.
The other player that really looked like the Padres were centering around was the prospect in the deal, Drew Thorpe, who was the second-round pick of the Yankees in 2022, had his first professional season last year, went right to high A ball after he graduated from college out of Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, excelled at both levels, went 14-2 with a 2.52 ERA, was named the National Minor League Pitcher of the Year last year, 182 strikeouts, 38 walks. Now, he doesn't He's not a flamethrower, and that has kept his prospect like, oh, this guy must be one of the top 5 prospects in baseball. He's not. He's only like top 100.
And I think but he's like 99.
He's like near the bottom of the top 100 because he only throws like 91 to 93 as a fastball. His changeup is outstanding. One of the best in the minor leagues. Really good. The breaking pitches are good.
Seems
he was
to be
effective.
A good pitcher.
Yeah.
Like he's a good pitcher.
What is his ceiling? Is he a future superstar in the making? I don't know.
3 to 4. I'd say like a 3.
Yeah,
good solid 3 to 4 starter.
I think a fair projection is more of a middle of the rotation starter in Major League Baseball.
Got to have them.
But you've got him on the cheap for many years to come. He has yet to make his Major League debut. The other guys are depth. They are 5 starters, 6 starters.
Bullpen.
Yeah, Randy Vasquez and Johnny Brito, who both pitched on the Major League level last year for the Yankees. Vasquez 2-2, 2.87 ERA, so he can get Major League pitchers out. Johnny Brito,
hitters.
He can get Major League hitters out. Johnny Brito,
probably pitchers too.
9-7, 4.28 ERA, which is not spectacular, but also pitching in the AL East and some good hitters' parks. You look at those numbers and go, at Petco Park, he actually could be a decent back of the rotation type guy. So they didn't get nothing in this trade. They got pitching depth that they badly needed from the New York Yankees. And, the Yankees, I don't think wanted to give up as much as they did. That's for sure in this deal. So you did at least hold out for more. You didn't have to eat your hair, which is good. Clark Schmidt was not the centerpiece of this deal. You said you'd eat your hair if Clark Schmidt was the centerpiece. He was not. He was not even included in the deal.
The centerpiece, obviously, was Kyle Higashioka, 33-year-old catcher, backup catcher. But now your catching situation is probably worked out as well with Higgy, as they call him.
I like that.
Higgy v. Higgy at spring training, if he's still on the team. Higashioka and Campusano. He's been around. I mean, he's 33 years old. He came up in the system bed. They said he was around when Andy Pettitte was still on the Yankees. So
kind of a below-average defensive catcher. Good framer.
Yep.
He will give you 10 home runs in 250 at-bats. He did it last year.
Almost.
Did it the year before. Did it the year before.
Almost
exactly
guaranteed 10.
He feels like...
Petco, though.
Yeah,
Petco
maybe less.
Translates to 6.
He feels like the exact prototypical backup catcher in Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And, Luis Campusano now is solidly your starting catcher with Kyle Higashioka as your backup guy who's going to probably start once a week and, come in when necessary. Hopefully Campusano stays healthy and has a good season. And Higgy can give you his 10 home runs. That's what I'm hoping for again. Just somehow get you 10, and we'll take that at the end of the year. But
that's exactly right.
The pitching is the key here. I don't think the Padres have enough even yet. I'd like to see them go out and spend some of that money, Woods, that they have freed up and bring back. I think Seth Lugo would be someone I would like to see now return to the starting rotation. I know maybe people would rather see them spend more and bring back Blake Snell, but to me, I feel like Seth Lugo slots right in there behind Michael King and could be a very, very good number 4 starter for you next season. Already comfortable with the Padres. Had a really good season working with Ruben Niebla. I would like to see some of that money maybe put toward a return for Seth Lugo. I don't know, can you get him on a 3-year deal? What's the market going to look like after the season he had last year? Can you convince him to come back? I think that's someone the Padres should target going forward.
Saris, our beloved from The Athletic, broke down these guys. He's got a new piece. I'm obviously not going to read all of it, but he's high on Michael King. He likes what he brings to the table. The only thing about King that bums me out is the 2 years of control, but I don't know. If you like what you see out of Michael King and think that he's a San Diego Padre for the next 7-8 years, there's no reason you can't sit down with him at spring training and say, we'd like you to be a part of this rotation. Let us buy out a couple of these ARB years. Let's get you, or let's just see what you got for 2 years.
Yeah, I could see them getting to spring if they like what they see. Maybe a 4-year deal,
Sure.
2 years of
2
arbitration,
years of
and then 2 of the free agency. That would get him to age 32,
Yep.
and then you kind of know, is he staying healthy? Is he pitching well for you? You can make the decision then, but you could put something like that together to control him a little bit longer beyond the end of this arbitration period. So I don't think that's the worst idea, Woods.